So, how many of y'all have heard the old expression, it's better to keep your mouth shut and be thought of as a fool than to open it and remove all doubt? Well, Turning Point founder Charlie Kirk is the absolute walking embodiment of that phrase because every time Charlie opens his mouth, he removes all doubt. And now Charlie is out there being an expert on women. Yeah, that's right. As we move into an election where MAGA really needs to appeal to women and needs to appeal to moderates and independents, Charlie is just doubling down and pushing everyone away. And he says that women who are in their 30s, they're not attractive anymore and they're past their prime. Yeah, he really said that. Roll the clip.
We basically told a great generation of young women, don't get married, don't have kids, go get a corporate job, and it's created mass political hysteria. And then in their early 30s, they get really upset because they say, the boys don't want to date me anymore because they're not at their prime. And people get mad when I say that. Well, it's just true. If you're in your early 30s, I'm sorry. It's like you're not as attractive in the dating pool as you were in the early 20s. But again, you have your corporate job and cats, so I thought,
the first thought that went through my mind when I heard him say that was, oh, Charlie don't know a whole lot about women. And I really hate to be the one to tell him this, but Charlie, you're 30 years old. It's actually you that is past your prime, okay? You've already peaked. And now as you start into your 30s, things are going to start slowing down for you. And once you get on into your 40s, you're going to be like the old Merle Haggard song. You're going to be asking yourself, are we rolling downhill like a snowball headed for hell? That's what you're headed for. It just shows me that Charlie doesn't know a thing about women and has no experience with them at all, because if he did, he wouldn't be out here going after the young girls in their early 20s. Charlie, as a musician who played over 25 years in dive bars, the older lady that's standing over shooting pool by herself, minding her own business, yeah, that's the woman you need to talk more to. That's the woman you need to get more experience with. And if you would, I promise you would say they need to have all the freedom in the world. They need to be able to make all their own choices. I need to just sit back and shut my mouth and listen. But Charlie's an expert on birth control too. And this is why so many people are tired of hearing white guys talk. Take a look at this.
A lot of them are on birth control too, and birth control really screws up female brains, by the way. Every single one of you need to make sure that your loved ones are not on birth control. It increases depression, anxiety, suicidal ideation. Birth control is the #1 most prescribed medication for young ladies under the age of 25. They will give young ladies birth control for pimples, for acne, to control their moods, their period. It is awful, it's terrible, and it creates very angry and bitter young ladies and young women. That bitterness then manifests into a political party that is the bitter party. I mean, the Democrat Party is all about bring us your bitterness and, we'll give you free stuff. It's like we'll trade you, bitterness for stuff, essentially. That's like the Democrat Party.
I can't count the times that someone has commented or sent me a message and said, Brando, I scrolled past your videos for a long time and I just wouldn't watch them because I thought you were just going to be another white guy ranting and I didn't realize you had progressive viewpoints and I'm sorry I judged you. Well, that's okay. I understand that the reason you judged me in the beginning was because of people like Charlie Kirk. That type of idiocy and that type of uneducated arrogance is what is so wrong with MAGA and what's so wrong with this country. They have empowered ignorance. They have empowered stupidity. And they think if they put a guy out like Charlie Kirk just talking, with all the confidence in the world, that people will buy it. And they're right. There are people who will buy into it. But the rest of us are sitting back going, man, you really should have just kept your mouth shut because now you've opened it and you've removed all doubt. And now we're going into an election. Like I said, MAGA really needs to be appealing to women, but that's what they think about women. And as we move into the election, women needs to really stop and think about, hey, that's what these guys think of me. And Donald Trump is out bragging about the fact that he overturned Roe versus Wade. He's bragging about the fact that he killed it. Take a look at this.
For 54 years, they were trying to get Roe v. Wade terminated, and I did it, and I'm proud to have done it. They wanted to get it back, right? You wouldn't have that. There would be no question. Nobody else was going to get that done but me. Yeah. And we did it, and we did something that was a miracle.
You know what, folks? They're just saying all the quiet parts out loud now. They're not trying to broaden their horizon. They're not trying to reach out to other people and bring other people into MAGA. They have drew the line in the sand, and they have let us know exactly who they are. They've let us know exactly how they feel about women. And they're bragging about the fact that they took rights away from women. My daughter today doesn't have the same rights that my mother had when she had me. We were not supposed to go in reverse. We were not supposed to go backwards. That's not how it works. We were supposed to continue to progress, and we were supposed to continue to get better. And then along came Maga. And they said, no, we want to go back to the 1950s. And Charlie Kirk has said it himself. He wants to go back to the 50s. And it's ridiculous to me coming from a guy 30 years old who never even grew up in the 50s. And if he did, he would have a really bad problem when he made it to the 60s and when he made it to the 70s. He would definitely have a problem when he saw the revolutions that happened and all the movements that happened and the rights that women fought for. He would have been the guy kicking against it. And that's what we have to realize as we go into the election. They are the ones kicking against it. And they're saying it out loud. They're telling us exactly who they are. And that's what I try to say to people all the time. When people says, well, you're just getting people worked up or this is hyperbole. No, I'm just showing you what they said. And I'm trying to say, hey, listen, we really need to listen to what they said, because that type of rhetoric will be welcomed in a Donald Trump White House. That type of rhetoric will be gave the microphone and the amplifier will be turned up even louder. Someone like Charlie Kirk will be validated by a Donald Trump presidency. He will feel the need to get stronger, and he will feel the need to get even bolder and even more brash because, hey, he won and now he can say anything he wants to. We have to remind people like Charlie Kirk that there are way more reasonable people out there and that we're tired of that type of rhetoric, and we don't want to go back to the 50s. Hell, I don't even want to go back to the 2010s. I don't want to go back 5 years ago. I want this country to move forward, and we're never going to move forward with the likes of Charlie Kirk steering the horse. It's not going to happen. So we have to get out there. We have to vote. And ladies, I'm sorry there's assholes like Charlie Kirk, but trust me, he's not going to get the last laugh because he's already peaked. He's past his prime, and he's going to learn that the hard way here in a couple of years.